Hello, Craftin' buddies. Take two. Let's see if I have any sound yet. All right, I'm trying to get my devices set up so I can see if we've got sound. All right, I'm trying to get my devices set up so I can see if we've got... All right, I guess we're back. Man, why is YouTube so mean to me sometimes? All right, I got sound on everything. Woo! Hello again. Well, Linda, you probably couldn't hear me because I wasn't saying anything because this is take two because the first one didn't have sound, but I think we have sound now. Yes? Sound, I hope. My devices seem to be really slow. Leave a comment if you can hear me. Okay, Roger. Roger. Roger, Roger. Sound check, Roger. All right. Welcome. This is Lori, Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. I'll go through that really quick. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, coming to you from Wisconsin. We're going to make believe that it's Saturday, April 18th at 11:59 p.m. because that's when I was getting everything set up. How's that? Could I be an auctioneer? Do you think that would work? All right, let's go through announcements super quick. You know, if you want to find all things Stampin' Up!, if you don't have a demonstrator, this is where you can go. latenightlory.stampinup.net. Welcome. Whoop. 2 times rewards. I hope you took advantage of it because it's over. Last chance products. Don't forget about those. There's some good deals there. There are still, we are on technically the last day of my Stampiversary subtraction craft math strategy special. That was a lot. All right. So in honor of my Stampin' anniversary, where I have now 9 years as a demonstrator, my anniversary was March 19th. If we do some little creative math, if you spend $28 through my store, latenightlory.stampinup.net, I will gift you $9 of Stampin' Rewards. That is an awesome deal. Only through April 19th. So starting tomorrow, those of you that have placed orders, thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. And I will send you an email when I have added the rewards, when I have gifted them to you so that you know they're there. All right. If you are thinking about product of the month, I had a mental block there for a second. If you have in the United States a qualifying order of $75, you can add this awesome die for just $5. It is a full card front size. For this one, we actually cut it down, but it's big. It's big. $5. That's a smoking hot deal. Only while supplies last. Once they're sold out, they're gone. So I got mine right away. Stampin' Up! Released it on April 1st. I thought it was an April Fool's joke. But I placed an order right away so I could get mine. Paper Pumpkin, now's the time to subscribe to the May Kit, Sparkling Celebrations. 9 cards, 3 different designs. Be there, be square. Don't forget we've got online products. Virtual album retreat is coming up on the 29th. So we've got like 10 days. Master classes. Awesome. If you want to know more about that, send me a message. You can email me. Excuse me. You can email me at lorimacari@gmail.com. And catalogs. I can only show you the front for a few more days. May 5th, this little baby goes live. So if you're not a demonstrator, if you don't have a demonstrator, if you'd like me to help you with your creative needs and want me to send you a catalog, send me an email. I will send you a catalog. All right, let's get down to business. I got my Paper Pumpkin kit today. Has anybody else gotten theirs? I'm going to shift this just a little bit. It arrived today. We had been busy day. We were out doing stuff with friends of ours, and I think I need to move this way. We've been out with friends of ours. Oh, yours is not coming until the 24th. Sorry, I'm surprised mine was here. But anyway, we were out with friends. Our granddaughter's with us for the weekend. We were doing some stuff. They got some new chickens, so we had to go check them out. And then we had to go get ice cream and stuff. We came home, and I had my paper pumpkin kits on my porch. So I am pretty excited about this one because it coordinates with, I'm pretty sure it coordinates with the relaxing water side, stamps, dies, papers. We're going to open all this up and take a look. So this is the Waterside Retreat. So I think, oh, they're not putting the name on this now. Oh, there we go. Lakeside Retreat. So yes, it coordinates with us. So we are going to do a little playing. And I have one other announcement I forgot to make. Remember, Saturday, where did it go? April 25th, 12:30 in the afternoon. We'll play for several hours. I'm going to do my Sweet Bugs class, or Cute as a Bug class, right, with the Sweet Bugs bundle. So the class is $35. We're going to make this basket. We're going to make 4 cards. You'll go home with the PDF instructions for at least the basket, maybe the cards. I think they'll be reproducible easily enough from making the cards in the class, but if I have time, I will make the instructions for the cards as well. If you want the class for free, you can purchase that bundle. If you don't have it in time for the class, which you won't, don't worry, I'm going to have all the things. But if you order that bundle or any other bundle of equal or greater value, you will get the class for free. If you are not local to me and you make a purchase and you want that class, make sure that you email me so that I know that you are making the purchase to get the class. If you are local to me, same thing. Let me know if you've made your purchase. Otherwise, you can Venmo me your payment. I need that by Monday, though, so that I can plan. All right. That's it for the announcements. Now let's play Paper Pumpkin. How was everybody's Saturday? I feel like I have to try to get caught up because my stupid YouTube. I don't know what the deal is with that. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Your Saturday was really busy? Now, was it Kizzy? Is that her name? Was she by you last weekend? Or is she still with you? I don't remember what your, is that what her name is? I know she was going to come to spend some time with you, or at least a day or something, right? But maybe that's not why you were busy. So, anybody who has not done Paper Pumpkin, these kits are awesome. When you subscribe, the very first time, you're going to get a kit, and you're going to get a block, all right? Once you've subscribed and gotten your first block, don't lose that block because you're not going to get one every single time, all right? So my kits do not have the block, but we do have a real cool stamp set. I'll go over those in a minute. And this ink spot is Peaceful Pine. So if they are stamping kits, you get an ink spot as well. And for some reason, my video on my YouTube, on my iPad keeps stalling. But on my computer, it looks fine. I'll have to keep looking over at my computer, which is a different direction. But these come all wrapped up so nice. And, you know, those of you who do journaling, these tissue papers are nice paper. Or if you want to create a cute little gift or something. My iPad is going so goofy. All right. I have a lot of stuff going on. I've been baking tonight too. I had to get my sourdough ready. I had to bake cookies for a friend who wants some cookies. She also wants some bread. And then another friend kind of killed her starter, so she needs some more starter. She wants to bake tomorrow. So I'm getting my starter ready for her, but I thought I would feed it for her so that she's ready to go. It's been a busy day. So Juju, what was busy your day? Fun stuff, I hope? So you'll get adhesive, you will get embellishments, you will get dimensionals if those are in there. So you spent your day with Mom decluttering. Oh, you can come over to my house and help me. And the grandbaby's there and still awake. It's late for a little one to be awake. And do I have her name right? Is it Kizzy? All right, so here are all the pieces. We get some Misty Moonlight. They're almost like cloud pieces. Envelopes. She was asleep and woke up. They're so sweet. Hopefully she's not being crabby. So there's 9 envelopes. They are all the same. So they're printed just on the outsides, not the insides. But these would be fun to even cut and use as designer. Oh, Lizzie. Lizzie? Okay. So anyway, these would be fun to cut and even use for cards, you know, for like designer series paper. Because we could always, you know, you could cut the flap off and just decorate a flap and then use this for your card and then just use one of your white envelopes. But look at these. So these card bases are pretty fun. To me, these need to be cut in half because this would make a good card base and this would make a good, well, or a layer, I mean. So there's one of them. Then we've got the wood planks. So you've got 3 of those. You've got 3 of those. There's the third one. We've got 3 of everything. And then we've got a bunch of labels. We've got some more sentiment strips. And here's the third card. And again, these are going to have to get cut. Because to me, yeah, it'll look pretty to have one on the front and the back. But who looks at the back of the card? It's not on display. So we are going to, oh, we could do a Z card with this, with that on the inside. Oh, that might be fun. All right. And then look at some of these fun elements. These are our laser cut pieces. So we've got this circle, and this is almost like the Spotlight on Nature because it's got the little spots out, or you know, the little cutouts. And then these, I'm not sure, but there's 3 of each of those. And then we've got some of these circle elements, square elements, rectangles, some little planks. These oars are adorable. And I love the bicycle, the life preserver. That must be the trophy fish. I don't know. And then chipboard. So if you do not have a Stampin' Pierce mat or a Stampin' Pearson mat, whatever it's called. And I just noticed, I'm not sure where mine is. I had it out for my Thursday class. I bet I put it in the other place. So anyway, we get the instructions. Look at these cards. Aren't these cute? So I'm going to zip through these pretty quick and put them together. But then I have a couple of ideas depending on time. We'll maybe work on some alternatives. So the first page, when we open it up, this tells us all of the pieces that we need for each of the 3 cards. And then we go to the instructions on the inside. Okay. And then on the back, there is a QR code if you want to watch the video from Stampin' Up. These are all of the elements. And then here is basically our little piece where we know where our stamps will be. All right. They used to give us a separate piece of paper. Now this kit, Paper Pumpkin, is now global. So all the markets that Stampin' Up! Is in around the world, the South Pacific, the UK, Belgium, wherever, they're getting these as well. So Stampin' Up! Might be trying to just be more efficient. I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing an announcement on this, but I actually like this because what I'll do, I hang on to my instructions, but when all my parts and pieces are gone, I put these in like a little envelope that I actually get from Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and affix my backing piece, my carrier sheet, and then have that stuck on there so that when I look at it, I can see all the sentiments. All right, so that's everything that comes in the kit. Now, I already prepped one of them so that I have all of the pieces punched out already. So let me grab that one. And then I also pulled out my Misty Moonlight ink spot. This is Peaceful Pine. So we're going to use our new ink pad probably. And let's take a look and see what we need for each card. All right, so for this one, we need these strips, these short ones. I didn't want to punch these out and lose them. I was thinking of just leaving them on the sheet to do my sentiment to see if I could line them up better that way, but that doesn't always happen. So I'm just going to punch them out and put them with the pieces. The little fish comes here. We're going to use gems for all of them, so let me take these gems out of here. Actually, maybe I should leave the gems in the envelope, in the little plastic pouch, so I don't lose them. And then I'll get some more dimensionals, because I have plenty of sheets that are already started. So we'll do that. All right, let's see what else we need here. We need the brown pieces. Looks like the big white pieces. Oh, and we have tear and tape too. I don't know if I showed that before. And I keep these small tear and tapes for when I have classes. So I'll just be using my full size one. All right, so I think that's everything for there. Now for this stripy one, we need the Misty Moonlight pieces, this imagery, the bicycle, and it looks like these green ones. Now these green ones, there's only 3 of each card, but we get 4 each of these. I think they're just being nice to us in case we mess up. All right, and then we need this piece and the oars. Where does this piece? Oh, this piece goes here too, the plank. So the little oars, the life jackets, that goes with the planks. The circles go with the planks. Those signage pieces, I think, go with the planks. Those go with the planks. And I think that's all our pieces. All right, so let's put this over here. All right, so I think we're good. All right, so let's go to card 1, this one. You got yours today too, Linda? Well, you know, my granddaughter and I were going out this morning, actually a little before noon, to run a couple of errands. The UPS guy was at the end of the driveway, because they, for whatever reason, with their big truck, they don't like coming down our driveway, even though we have no overhead wires and they could actually turn around. But he stays on the road and then he walks down the driveway to the door. So we're sitting in the garage waiting to come out because I can't get out of the driveway because the truck's in the way. And he's in the back of the truck and I can tell he's looking for something. He gets up, he's on his little handheld thing and he's punching something on it. And he puts it down, he gets in the driver's seat, puts on a seatbelt and drives down the road. So I'm guessing he couldn't find whatever was supposed to come here. And I thought, well, hopefully it didn't, I mean, maybe he'll come back. But usually I think if they like can't find your stuff, they just keep going and then they just delay their delivery date. But then when we came back, it was here. So I was kind of relieved. Hello, Nicole. Welcome. Welcome. All right. So with these, I'm going to go ahead and put a little Versamark on these to get them kind of ready to have ink stick to them. And that's because I didn't wash these or anything yet, so we're just going to put, yeah, getting his steps in, something like that. I'll just put some Versamark on there, and we'll let that kind of dry for a second here. Now, I'm just going to do one of these as they're intended, because like I said, that is just such a shame to me to have that hidden on the back. So, Linda, I'm glad you have people already in mind to give these to. With some of these, I am not going to use the Happy Father's Day that's on them because they're such cool cards that it wouldn't have to be for Father's Day. It could just be for anything. All right, so let me get some blocks out here. So this one is Happy Father's Day, so I'm going to make a couple of them as they're intended. So we got Happy Father's Day. And the dash line. We've got, what does this say? You are an inspiration. I'm going to wait on that. Yeah, we can do that. I just have to think who it's going to go to. But if I give it to Papa, if I give it to MacMan. All right, there's that. And then we need a couple more blocks. One of my favorite things are images like this. This happens to be cattails. I love those. And then let's get some, maybe they could be seagulls, but maybe we'll pretend they're like ducks or something. I don't know. They're seagulls. All right, so we have 5 different images here. And these we're going to stamp. It's giving us arrows where we're going to stamp everything. All right. So I need my card base. And we're going to stamp in Peaceful Pine the Happy Father's Day on this piece. Let me go get my Pearson mat. I don't know if this is the one I normally have at my table or not, but it's the one I have today. So we need Happy Father's Day. And I am really loving these new ink pads. I love it that I can just lift it off with one hand. And let's put that right on there. Nice. Who else puts their ink to their stamp? Do you do ink to stamp or do you do stamp to ink? It depends for me if I'm doing a class. Because if I'm doing a class, I usually have my people go like this, because our foam block or our foam ink pads, they could get all squishy. Now with these felt ones again, that's not so much an issue. So we may go back to tapping so they can see their design. All right, so this is ready. We need this piece to put "You Are an Inspiration." Linda, you do your ink to your stamp. Hopefully that's straight. Sometimes it does depend on how large the stamp is. The other thing that I see a lot of people struggle with is if they have a small image and they put it on a bigger block, it's easier to tip that block. And then they get ink all around. All right, so let's do our cattails. According to the instructions, our cattails are just going down here. Now Stampin' Up! Has said you might want to walk around your ink pad. So let's just, oh, that's so pretty. I love it. Cool. And then I think we're back to the birds. And I think that'll be it. And the birds are getting stamped up here. All right. 5 stamps done. And then our next instructions say to take this piece and put a bunch of dimensionals on it. Since this is a long piece, I'm just going to put those adhesive strips on it. You know how much I like those. Yeah, tap, 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 not squish, 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 Nicole. All right, so we are going to use our adhesive strips because I like that I only have to do one thing and it's done. And see this one, these instructions, they're having us put 8 of them on there. So that's kind of a lot. This way I can just put my strips on and be done. So what did you do with the kids, Nicole? What kind of card? Did you do a kit or do you make your own? All right. So let's take a look at this piece. We're going to turn it over, and it's telling me to put dimensionals on the side. So I've got 1, 2, 3. And then tear and tape along the side. A bendy slider. Oh, with a dinosaur. How fun. How old are the kids? All right, here's our little fish. We're going to flip the fish over and put 2 dimensionals over on this side. If you can't see that on the instructions, you'll be able to see it with your kit. So I don't know if you can see that symbol, but when we flip the fish over, those go on the side. And 5 and 9, all fun ages to craft with, because usually they'll at least listen when they're doing something new. Maybe not the 9-year-old so much. All right, so here's the "You Are an Inspiration." We're going to put a couple of dimensionals on this side. Oh, I should keep this close by so I don't lose it. 1, 2, and then a little piece of tear and tape on the side here. And it's just showing a little smidge. And I like to burnish that onto onto the cardstock or the paper. And then this one, the Happy Father's Day. Hello, Suzanne, or Jess, whatever Juju's gonna call you today. And Rosa, I don't remember if I said hello to you. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. That's when I was talking in my auctioneer voice because I was trying to get caught up. And then this one with Paper Pumpkins, you get a sneak peek the next month. So here, let me find my little thing. We kind of get us a little bit of a sneak peek. So as demonstrators, we get like a little marketing piece, okay? So we can share these things. I kind of missed sharing Lakeside Retreat because I was doing a lot of traveling in March. And by the time I got back, there was only like a day or two left. So it tells us, like, for the May, well, this one, let's just look at the April Lakeside Retreat. Show your appreciation for the men in your life with cards inspired by tranquil waterside scenes. So it makes 9 cards, 3 of each design. And we kind of get a little itty bitty icon of what might be in it. All right. But it tells us what comes in it, and it tells us that it coordinates with the Waterside Retreat Suite Collection, which I have out. So we're going to look at the papers and stuff for that. And we'll see how much time we have left. But then we see these next 2 months. So we only get little snippets. And these are like, I think they're supposed to be lanterns. Like outdoor luminary kind of lanterns that hang, like maybe Chinese lanterns or something. I don't know. But it says Sparkling Celebrations. I like more realistic things. I'm not sure how I'll like these. So when I get the kit, if I don't like the cards, I'll do one of the cards each. But then I might just cut stuff up and do my own thing. But for me, it's usually worth it to keep the kit even if I don't like what's in it, because I can always use it for stuff. All right. And then here we've got Bikes and Blooms. So I'm looking forward to that one because that looks like there's another bicycle there. So this one's got metallic butterfly embellishments. This one's got silver foil. And then this one coordinates with a suite that's coming up. So that's more than Stampin' Up! Used to give us. The kits collection, we know everything that's going to be in it. You can see everything. But with Paper Pumpkin, we usually just get little clues or little snippets. We don't necessarily see everything that's in it unless Stampin' Up! Has done a video for demonstrators. I've kind of lost track of some of those. Hello, Mary, welcome. I've kind of lost track of some of the videos just because I've been so busy. But they would do like a Paper Pumpkin preview video, and then at the end of the month, they would do some alternative projects that have been submitted. So, yeah. All right, and I just realized that I don't have some of my other lights on here. I wondered why it was so dark. All right, so let's start putting this together. This one, I still need tear and tape. Yeah, I've done things like that too, Nicole or Suzanne. Because you never know. What might not speak to us might be something that somebody else really adores. So, Mary, I don't remember. I think you've been here before, but I'm not certain. Let us know where you're joining us from. All right, so now we're to the part where we're putting this all together. So we're going to go ahead and put our plaid piece on. And that's going to go off to the side. And I'm just keeping my Pearson mat here just because it gives a nice background contrast so you can kind of see the colors. And then we're going to go ahead and put this piece on here. Door prizes, donations, yeah, all of that. I've done giveaways with my paper pumpkin kits as well. So this is kind of going to the side. Oh, kind of centered in this set of plaids here, it looks like. Something like that. And because we put dimensionals on this side, our mini dimensionals are not quite as tall as those strips. West Australia. All right, so it's like, it's 1:45 in the morning here. So you're probably, is it like near supper time for you? Yes, yes. And paper pumpkins, you can sell them once. You should look it up, but paper pumpkins, the month has to close, and I don't know if you have to hold them for a month. I think they changed some of those rules, so check with that as far as selling it in your markets, how quickly you can do that. But like the kits collection, those are all cash and carry items. So if you get kits, you can sell those as a cash and carry item with no restriction. And so this, it looks like it needs to be centered above the sign. That's pretty close. And then our little fish will go on here. So you're in Perth. Okay. So Perth, I think you're 14 hours ahead of us. Let's see. 13 hours ahead of us. Okay. Because it's 1:45 and it's 1:45 in the afternoon. So you're 13 hours ahead of us. I had I've got a note for my Australia times. And Perth, I have +13 and then +14. And I think it depends on whether we've done daylight savings time or not here. I don't remember. So you're 13 hours. All right. And the little fish plaque goes up there. And then I need to put Happy Father's Day on the sign. And so Nicole, you're in Perth. Mary's from West Australia. Oh, Nicole, Sorrento. I can't keep up. And that goes there. Now, there's also some gems, and it's having us use 5 gems. So it looks like we've got 3 down on the left side of the pier, covering up the stems from those cattails, and then 2 over here. So let me get my take your pick tool. And let's see, 2 flat ones. So it looks like a flat one over here. Oh, I guess maybe I'll peel these off. They're kind of flat. All right, so we'll do a flat one over here with a bubbly one. And then we have 2 of the more rounded stones with the smaller stone, the flat stone. And you can do your stones however you want. I think I probably should have done them so that they were like a feng shui sort of thing. I wonder if I can take these off and move them. Put that bigger one on the bottom and then have that flat one kind of resting on top. I like that better. That's not how the instructions show, but you know, sometimes you just have to be a rebel. Now, this card, I don't think there's anything on the instructions telling us to do the inside, but I really like that cattail. So I'm gonna put some cattail on the inside. Because I really like that. Thanks for the hearts. This is such a fun kit. Some of the paper pumpkin kits, when I get them, I am just so excited to do them, and I get them done right away, which is great because if I don't do them right away, then sometimes they sit and pile up. I think most of us know how that goes. So there's that. And here's our coordinating envelope. Instructions, right? Instructions and sleep, they're all overrated, aren't they? Look at that. And I'm going to do more cattail on the front of this card as well. Just because I really like that cattail. Like if you were here last night when I did that scrapbooking kit, you know, I followed the instructions pretty religiously for the first layout, and then I just started watching the pictures and kind of going with the picture. So here's card number 1. Isn't that awesome? I love it. I love it. So hopefully MacMan's not watching because he's going to get this Father's Day card. Fun. All right, so that's card number 1. Let's go to card number 2. I'm trying to behave and follow instructions. Nicole, please do not be a bad influence. Oh, card number 2. Where did I go? Here we go. All right. So again, we have, oh, this one's going to say happy birthday. So let me clean off Happy Father's Day and put that away. Where did my little carrier sheet just go? Oh, it's here. And we'll use happy birthday. Now, if you weren't here right when I started, I made mention that I inked my whole sheet with a little Versamark, so it's a little tacky. I'm hoping to have the ink stick because Versamark is a slow drying sticky ink, because I didn't feel like washing my stamps ahead of time. Sometimes I do. All right, and then this one says, I gotta take off my bifocals. Older, wiser, better. So this is a happy birthday card. Good night, Rosa. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's take this off. I'm going to just put the ones that we've used on a big block off to the side so that I don't lose them. But if we need them again, I have them just because I want to use some of these smaller blocks. Now, the other thing I usually do is if I have words that I need to keep in a straight line, I do not put them straight on my block. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Rosa. Because I don't like to use the edge of my block as false security for whether I'm getting it straight. I would rather look at the words and ignore my block. So that's why you'll see me put things crooked on there. We're going to use the seagulls again and the cattails. And then we'll just get rid of this little piece of words and see if we need it again. All right, I think we're ready. So we need the other card. We need this one. I think I'm really going to like this one because of the bicycle. All right, so here's our card base. And then on our little signage piece, we're going to put happy birthday. And that's got us doing it in green, but I think I'm going to be a rebel and I'm going to do Misty Moonlight. So much for following the instructions, Lori, right? Happy birthday. And then Older, Wiser, Better, we'll go ahead and do in the Peaceful Pine, just because that's what color goes with that little sentiment strip. Older, Better, Wiser. And then we've got seagulls to put on this piece. So I'm following the instructions here. So the happy birthday goes here. Older, Better, Wiser goes there. Or older, Wiser, Better. Seagulls go here. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Peaceful Pine. And then our cattails are going to come over here. And since I have the cattails out here, I'm going to go ahead and, no, actually, I think I'm going to do the seagulls on the inside, but I'm going to do them in Misty Moonlight. And then we'll do some seagulls on our envelope. Yeah, I couldn't decide. Okay. So let's go ahead and do our adhesives. Now here's another one. I love this stripe. This piece is going to go almost all the way over it, so you're only going to see a little bit on the edges, which is a shame. And let's go ahead. I'm going to switch up to the full-size dimensionals. Just because they're going to give us a little bit more coverage. So that'll go there. Our little imagery piece, we're going to put tear and tape on the top and the bottom. Now Stampin' Up! Does a video on these too. I just saw it, I think, today. I don't know when they put it up, if they did it yesterday or today. But I think the video was about 20 minutes long. And one of the comments was, boy, that took a long time. And I know I'm a putsy stamper. I don't want to rush. This is my relaxation time. So if I go too slow for you, I apologize. But you could always catch the replay and, you know, put it on fast. Oops. But I don't like to have to rush through my cards because that kind of takes the fun out of it for me. So I'm just watching all of the instructions here as to where they're suggesting putting the adhesive. And then I need tear and tape on here also. So if you're not familiar with the symbols, this is a roll of tear and tape. That's what the solid line is. The dimensionals are the little hexagon symbols. If there's a glue dot, which we don't have glue dots for this one, it'll be a solid colored circle, kind of small, okay? So let's get this back over here. So the bicycle has quite a few dimensionals on here. If any of you have ever watched Karen Patterson do any of the scrapbooking classes, she likes lots of dimensionals. So I'm almost wondering if she helped with this one, because there's a lot of dimensionals on here. All right, let's go ahead and start putting together. And I'm going to keep my Stampin' Pearson mat here just because I think the dark background does give a nice contrast, so hopefully you can see it better. All right, we're going to start with this piece. Whoops, that's a spatula. I feel like a little garbage picker-upper when I use those. Now there's a little bit of like a cloudy imagery on here. I don't think it really matters how you put it on. There's just a little edge here where the scoring wasn't exactly even. So I'm going to use a side that doesn't have any of that visible. All right. And then we're going to take this piece. Maybe. Sometimes it's just a struggle to get those backings off for me. And this is going to kind of go in the center. And this little piece, like this little piggy ran home, kind of goes at the bottom to cover up where that cattail is coming out. I actually almost kind of liked the way it looked, so you could move it down wherever you want it. And then we've got, let me move these so I don't get ink on my instructions. Now we've got the happy birthday. And we'll put this here. Well, we're going to end up covering up the bottom of those cattails anyway. Let's move this over a little bit more. And then we want our older, wiser, better sentiment. And then I'll go here. There's a little nub there from the laser cut piece. And then the bicycle goes kind of on the sand. Now, this bicycle is got a big background, kind of like in your face white background, which is kind of a shame that it doesn't have like a little colored background, but I just am afraid that if I do any kind of blending on there, I'll kind of take away from the cuteness of the bike, and there are no extra bicycles, so I'm just going to leave it as it's designed. And then we're going to be done with this card. And our bicycle's going to go right about there. Card number 2. Done, just like that. Cute little happy birthday card, suitable for male or female, because it's not really masculine or feminine. What do you think of that one? It's nice to have stuff in your stash. I know there was an ephemera pack that had the bicycle on it too, and it seems to me I've seen the bicycle somewhere. Yeah, it might be pretty even without that bicycle as well, Linda. But since I'm trying to follow the instructions, I'm going to leave it. You know, I wonder, what if we added, Oops, what happened here? There we go. That's weird. That came out of my Winkostella. What if we made the bicycle tires shimmer a little bit? Maybe the chrome handlebars. That probably would have been better than the bike tires, but we'll just highlight all these little items. That makes me like it a little bit more. The basket I'm going to skip. I kind of like that. All right. I like that a little bit better. All right, card number 2. Cute. So this will coordinate that way. Thanks for stopping in, Linda. I will see you on Monday. And then card number 3. Let's get these pieces out of the way. And here's another one that I'm going to have to cut these apart because I don't like the fact that that's hidden on the back. I love it that they're printing it for us to do that, you know, knowing that a lot of us will probably cut it. It's just such a shame to have it hidden on the back. All right, so now we've got one that says, "Thanks, Dad." I love my chamois. So if we do, let's see if I can pick this up all at once. So here's thanks. That almost seems like it should be bigger. Well, that's the frame though. All right, thanks, Dad. Let's get that bigger. I wonder if I used, like on this one, maybe I was supposed to use the smaller one. It looked bigger. They're not a whole lot different, but I wonder, that could have worked for that one. So let's maybe trade these and see if that still fits. That does still fit. They're just slightly different in size. Let go of me. I don't think I'm going to be able to do these on a single block. It's more trouble than it's worth. And this one says, "You are a lifesaver." Okay. Maybe Riley can give that to her dad. All right, I'm a lifesaver. Thanks, Dad. I don't need the seagulls on this one, so let's wash our seagull. And put Dad on there. And then we get to use our cattails again. Yay. All right, so I'm going to get rid of the smaller ones. And we'll put those with the first one, I guess, because they really seem to work better with this one. All right, So the only other stamp that we didn't use is the one that says son. So instead of, you know, dad, we could have put son. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp thanks dad. And I'm gonna do that in Misty Moonlight. I'm trying to open this like the new stamp cases already. Oh, and we need, I forgot, we need this one again. So we're gonna do a little border at the top and the bottom. Okay. And now we can do thanks dad. Hopefully that's straight. Yeah, it looks pretty good, I guess. It's a little not straight. I don't know if the dad is sideways or if the thanks is a little sideways, but it's going to be good enough. I do like the font. All right, let's see what else we have. We've got you are a lifesaver. Where is that strip? Okay, what did I do with... I'm missing this long strip. Here we go. Because I didn't punch them out because I didn't want to lose them. A lot of good that did, right? All right. So now these are going to go together. Then we're going to have you are a lifesaver. And this one, they've got it off to the left a little bit more. I'm going to do that in the Misty Moonlight. Just because this isn't green. So I think it'll work. I think that works. All right, so that's all the stamping. Oh, no, it's not. We have this. We have the cattails. So the cattails are getting stamped here so that they're coming out from under this focal piece. So if that goes there, this is going to go here. I'm just going to dry fit this because I'm not so sure I like the suggested layout. I'm just going to call it a suggested layout because it's your card. You can change anything you want. And we need a couple of oars. So I've got those down here. Our little life jacket over here. And then they've got these cattails coming out under here. And that just seems kind of odd to me because cattails don't come down. Cattails go up. So I'm going to do them up. Because that makes more sense to me. When you get yours, you do you. You do whatever you want. Put that there. maybe a little, if this is going to go here, we could have a little peeking out here so that they're at least going upright. And then some over here. Okay. Oh, that one's going to hardly be seen. Let's stamp that again. Whoops. I'll stamp that up a little bit higher, I guess. There. That'll work. That just makes a little bit more sense to me. What do you think? Would you agree, or would you do yours with the cattails going upside down? And it shows the circle up higher on the card too, but I needed to lower it because of the cattails. So if I'm going to change it up, I think I'm just going to change it all up. And I think we're going to do something like this because I want to see some more of that water. They've just got a little bit of the water showing here. I want to see a little bit more of the water. Oh, and this is supposed to go here too. Like on top of the sign. I think we're going to do this. And I still can't see that cat, or the cattail there. Yeah, the upside down cattail just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to do this over here. That one's going to be covered because I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it up. That still might not work for me. I don't know. Maybe my problem is this is so big. I don't like it so big. We're going to trim it down. So there. So here's an alternative. Too bad Allie's not here because she likes doing alternatives. She does like Allie Cat's Crafts. When she gets her paper pumpkin kit, I think she says she does 30 different cards. I don't do that, but I know there are a lot of people that they try to see how many cards they can get out of their kit. And that's great, but 30 cards is a lot for me to distribute. But a lot of people have places to donate and whatnot. All right, so I think this is kind of how ours is going to look. So let's go ahead and start getting some of our adhesives on here. So this is going to use tear and tape. I better close up my blue ink. All right, so we'll use tear and tape there. And I'm not going to follow their instructions for some of these items just because I've changed the placement. So dimensionals might not work in some places, and I might need them in others based on where I've moved things. We're still going to make that our little sign. And then this can have, see, that's just got tear and tape, but I think we're going to do dimensionals on that. Hopefully I'm not messing everybody up too much by not following the instructions on this one. You get the idea though, because I followed the instructions pretty good on the last two. All right, so let's go ahead and put our dimensionals on the back of this because this is going to get lifted up. I'm going to use the full-size dimensionals though, not the minis. And this can go, I think we're going to do this a little lower, right? That was the plan because this is going to end up going kind of here. I want these cattails to show on the sides a little though, a little bit there. So we're going to put some dimensionals on the top of here. And then tear and tape on the bottom. So this can go here. We'll make sure that we cover up that cattail that I couldn't decide what I wanted to do with it. I should have waited to do the stamping until I was sure where I wanted all of the parts and pieces, but it's all right. It's working out all right. I'm going to make this a little bit shorter and center that a little bit better. There, I think that's better. All right, and then this piece we need some tear and tape. We're almost done, I promise. Oh, silly me. This has to go on first. That'll be fine. All right, and then we're gonna do our little life jacket and our oars, and we're going to be able to see a lot more of the water, and I like that better. Yeah, I think that works for me. And this one doesn't use any of the pebble embellishments. I don't remember if the second one, oh, the second one I missed putting some of those pebble embellishments on. I'll have to go back and do that. All right, so let's get these oars on. I'm going to put tear and tape on the handles. Because I think I'm going to have to cut it because the tear and tape is just a little wide. So cutting it in half worked perfect. And then we'll put a couple of dimensionals on the bottom of the oars here, the paddle part. I'm surprised we're not having bad weather today. We have had just really bad weather the last few days. So we had no rain, no thunder, no lightning, no tornadoes today. And I guess it's supposed to be storm-free for the next few days. So keep your fingers crossed for us. And then that, I'm just going to put a little dimensional down on the bottom here of the life vest. And then we'll put some tear and tape on the upper part. You know, I wonder how many guys would have noticed that the cattails were upside down. There. All right, so we did a little alternative. So here's the suggested layout, and there's the modified layout. I think I like this one better. So let's go back to card number 2 and get some of these pieces on here. It calls for 2 flat ones. And a bigger one. And it has them all clustered there, but I'm going to put it over here. All right, so that one's fixed. And then this one, let's go ahead and get our envelope. And let's do some cattails on that one. Why not? Now, I use my full-size pads rather than the Stampin' Spot just because it's easier for me when I'm doing the videos here to just have the full-size ink pad. All right, so there's that one. So here's our 3 designed cards. We need cattails for this one, seagulls for this one, and I'm just going to scooch these out of the way for right now. So there's our 3 cards from this paper pumpkin kit. I love them. Now they'll really go much quicker if you're not so busy chit-chatting with people like I do, but like I said, this is my relaxation time. Okay, so let's do one alternative card. I have something kind of in mind with this one. So let's get the pieces we need for here. Get a couple of oars, the life jacket, this piece, and these, and this one. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this card base down because we're going to put it on a different card base. I'm going to use this as a layer. Right, Nicole? Who needs coloring books? I'm going to go ahead and do 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to go get a card base that's Misty Moonlight. Luckily, I have one that's already cut. And I want to put another layer behind here. And I'm just wondering if, I think that's pecan pie. What did I do with my instructions? I'm looking, but I don't see my instructions. What do I do with them? Well, that's so weird. They're probably right in front of my face and I just don't see them. So luckily I have more than one kit. I don't know what I did with them. Oh, there they are. Under my Stampin' Pearson mat. All right, so let's just see what these colors are. Azure Afternoon, Balmy Blue. Oh, Balmy Blue might be a nice color to put under there. Crisp Cantaloupe, Gray Granite, Misty Moonlight, Old Olive, Peaceful Pine, Pecan Pie, Pool Party, Soft Sea Foam, and Very Vanilla. I think I'm gonna try pecan pie. Alrighty, I had to find a piece that wasn't cut. Let's just take a look and see. Oh, I think that will look kind of nice. Do you agree? A little bit of pecan pie under there. All right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna do some dies though. I think we're gonna use textured notes. I think these are still current. Let me take a look. Is that what it's called? Textured notes. That didn't come up. I wonder if they was got discontinued. 165. Okay, so these are no longer current products, so I guess we won't use those. They got discontinued. I thought I could just make that a little schnazzier, but we'll trim. That's all right. We'll trim. So let's do 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. If I was worried about conserving my cardstock, I would trim out the center of this and use that for something else. I'm not really worried about that, but I am going to cut this a little bit smaller. I'm going to take another 1/16 off of 2 sides, or maybe that's 1/8. Did I take off 1/8? I must have taken off 1/8. That way we can see a little bit more of the pecan pie. I think we'll make all of these a little bit smaller. Because I want to see that misty moonlight behind there. So you see what I did there so that I didn't have to cut these separately. I just lined up 2 of the sides and then I cut the same amount off, because then they're automatically sized to be layered. Little cheat there. All right, so I kind of like that there. We're gonna do just thanks. This is just gonna be a general all occasion thanks card. And I'm thinking I'm gonna trim off these because I don't really need them. And we may end up going this way because I like how the thanks works better that way. We'll try to go straight. Nice. And then we could, let me think. We could put cattails on the front of here like it's in the foreground, but we might not. I don't think I'm going to use that. And what I want to do here is, there was a technique that Susan Campfield showed recently. And she said a team member of hers, Joanne Pollock, did the technique. And basically she called it a double vision card. So this is going to go here like so. We're going to put this thanks somewhere on here. We'll figure it out in a minute or two. We're going to put a couple of these oars and the lifesaver on here, or the life vest rather. But we're going to cut this up, all right? And we're going to elevate parts of it. And do almost like an eclipse kind of technique. So let's first see how wide this is. So this is 3 1/4. So I need to figure out, math is sometimes hard. So we're gonna do 3 1/4 would be 1 1/2. Let me just get a pencil. 1 1/2. Oh, I think my watch needs to be charged. Hang on just a second. I can plug it in. All right. So if we've got our circle that is about 3 1/4, I'm trying to see if that's at the widest point, just about. So if we go 1 1/2, 1 1/2 plus like a 1/16. So if I cut there, and if I do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be 3/8. So I'm going to cut these at 3/8 each, and we're just going to see how it works. Hopefully it'll be close. And we're just going to keep these kind of in order. So I'm going to do 3/8, and then I'm going to turn this over and do 3/8 on this other side, just so I can kind of keep them even. And let me move this stuff so that we can lay these out here and kind of see how our circle's going to look. Okay, and then if I go to 3/8, that's coming over here. And I'm going to turn it over and do 3/8 here. Hopefully you can kind of see where my mind is going here. The example that I saw just basically had 1/2 inch cuts, but they weren't working with a circle either. So we're going to do 3/8 here. In fact, let's make this one bigger. Let's go ahead to a 1/2 inch there. So we'll do 4/8. And then we're going to turn this around and we're going to do 4/8 here. And then I'm going to leave this piece full size. All right, let's get rid of our trimmer. And we're going to see how this works. So she had this all lined up. And then basically lifted every other one with dimensionals. And then used every other one as the guide for distance. So I want this one to be up. I want it to be elevated. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out, and I'm going to put dimensionals on it. I'm glad you like the thought process at least. I'm going to put more dimensionals on here than I might normally put just because I don't want it to collapse. All right, so let's go ahead and take these off. So I think what she did was she probably glued first, but I'm going to do my dimensional piece first. And then let's just put tear and tape on here. And I'm going to try to go to the edges and just trim it so that they're adhered really well. And I'm going to do that little dog-eared trick, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to lay this down first so I have it lined up. And then I'm going to pull this off, and it's going to keep it pretty much controllable that way. Now we're going to put this up on dimensionals. I'm going to use mini ones now because these are narrower than that middle one. So for anybody who left early, they're missing out on this experiment. I don't know what else to call it, because it's not really my creativity, because I saw somebody else do it. They did it different, so I have to kind of modify it for what's going on in my head. So we'll just hopefully it works. And then we're just going to put, maybe I'll just use glue here. That might be easier than the tear and tape. And that'll give me the wiggle room that I need too. Well, I'm glad you like it, Nicole. Hopefully it'll turn out. I'm using just a very sparse amount of liquid glue because I don't want it to seep over the edges. And I'm going to turn this just because it's going to help me see better to line this up, I think. Maybe, maybe not. I like it. I like it. All right, so this piece is going to get glued down. Well, tear and tape. I'll be consistent. We did tear and tape on this piece, so I'll do tear and tape on this one as well. And I'm going over the edges because I'm going to trim them. I just want it to go all the way to the edge. And I'm going to go ahead and do that little flippy thing again. And this one's going this way. So we'll line this up at the top. I'm going to turn it sideways just because it's going to be easier for me to see, I think. Does that look pretty close? I think that looks pretty good. All right, so I'm pressing down where I've got that tear and tape exposed. And if I can get my fingers under there, there we go. All right, here's another piece. We're going to use some dimensionals. We're going to use little ones. I love my take your pick tool. It makes it so much easier than trying to pick some of these off with my fingernails. Because for one, I have weak fingernails. I don't keep them long. When I was a kid, I used to bite my fingernails. I think I just had too much stress in my life. And then as an adult, I ended up eventually in medical professional, and you can't have fingernail polish. You can't have fake fingernails. You just keep your fingernails short, like less than 1/4 inch. So that's where I'm at. This is fun. I like how this is turning out. So if you want to see somebody else's version, I didn't watch their whole thing. I just watched enough to see what they were talking about. Like a couple of minutes is all. So I'm just kind of winging it. But I saw it first. Susan Campfield is a $1 million sales achiever for Stampin' Up. So I think something from Stampin' Up probably came up. And that's how I saw it, because I usually don't go and watch videos. How fun is that? See that? All right, so let's get rid of these little bits of debris here and carry on. So that was a little time consuming just because I needed to do math for that circle. So I am not going to elevate these pieces. I'm just going to attach them. And I'm going to go ahead and use glue this time because I am really a multi-purpose liquid glue user. Because like you saw with some of these little pieces, it gives me that wiggle room. And we'll take this off of here. Gray granite probably could have worked, but the circle was pecan pie. So I was just kind of going with it. Ellie! Juju, are you still here? I don't think Ellie was even here at all tonight. But that was our little, you got to do a little tequila thing or something. It's a little crooked. I got to fix it before it's stuck too hard. There we go. Allie likes to use, she's got a smaller brayer, but she uses it to flatten out her pieces, and I thought that's a really good idea. So I started doing that, and I like it. So then Juju, who's crafting on the back 40, right, Nicole? You know, Ellie, like tequila, because it's Ellie's technique. So I try to honor her. Sunshine Amberzina, welcome. Thanks for joining us and for chiming in that you're here. I do not recognize your name, so welcome if this is your first time, and welcome back if you have been here before. I try to remember when people have been here, but your name looks pretty unique, but I don't think I've seen it before. So we're actually doing a Stampin' Up! Paper Pumpkin Kit. This is the 4th card that I'm on, and I'm just kind of doing my own thing here instead of following the instructions, because sometimes that's how I roll. Well, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. I'm getting close to my 900 subscribers. We're getting there. So this is going to go here. What kind of crafting do you do, Sunshine? Or should I call you Amber? Okay, so you take a sip of whatever you're drinking for finding something. Oh, I like that idea. Like, where did my instructions go? Marzina. So where does the amber come from? Because sunshine is an amber kind of color. Marzina. Am I putting the emphasis on the name right, or is it Marzina? See, I look at that and I say Marzina. Are you in the United States, or where are you from? I'm just kind of writing myself a note because it helps imprint it in my head. I try to remember, people. All right, so let's, I think we could probably get by with putting this on dimensionals. If I do, it's in the United States, it's going to need more postage. But I think it will look better if I raise the circle up too, don't you? It's a combination of amber and the end of your name. Okay, cool. I worked with a gal from Poland when I worked at the VA in North Chicago. Her name was It started. I'll think of it. It might not be tonight, but I'll think of it. She was such a sweetheart. I really enjoyed working with her. Well, welcome. Glad you're in the United States. And do you do Stampin' Up stuff? My son lives in Chicago. My son, his wife, and her mom live in Chicago. What a small world. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. What kind of crafting do you do? We have a bunch of gals here that do junk journals, some that do cards, some that do more 3D things, some that do journaling. I try to do a little bit of anything, except I haven't ventured into the junk journaling yet. You do cards. Cool. All right. I think maybe I should put that there so we don't have extra postage. And I'm not going to use this. I'm not thrilled with that color combination here, but I do kind of like this. But I think I want to trim it down. That's what I think, because I don't want it quite so large. I'm going to make it more of a strip than a full-size rectangle. So I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So most of my products are exclusively Stampin' Up! It's not very often that if I need, like, you know, googly eyes or a wobble or something, I will use non-Stampin' Up! Stuff just because Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell it, but otherwise my items are all Stampin' Up! So just so you know, and I am a putsy stamper. I like to take my time. This is my relaxation time. Part-time reseller. Okay. Nice. Well, again, welcome. I'm usually on right around midnight every night. Or I should say almost every night. All right, so I think, let's see, where's that lifesaver? You're a lifesaver. You're an inspiration. Where did I put that? Oh, you're a lifesaver here. I think I'm going to put that on the bottom of here. Thanks, you're a lifesaver. You paint with diamonds, like the diamond dot things that are kits, or something else? There. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down just because I've resolved in my head that it shouldn't go up on dimensionals because it'll be too thick to mail. But now I do want to try to get this so it's straight up and down and kind of centered. Let's go up maybe just a little bit. important to keep our dexterity, right? So the nice thing about that multi-purpose liquid Tombow, the Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, is that I do have a little bit of wiggle room, so I could shift those a little bit. Let's put this up on dimensionals. I think I can put dimensionals in every corner. And it won't be a problem. So do you have dexterity issues, or just you're making sure that you don't end up with dexterity issues? Oh, that explains it for me. Yeah, a friend of mine was recently diagnosed with MS as well. So I'm going to move this up a little bit because I don't want to have that edge just hopping out there at me. I do classes, and I know Allie, when she's here, some of the other gals may also, we do classes with senior citizens, and it helps with their dexterity as well. So we're going to do this, and do I want that kind of behind there? I'm going to fussy cut this a little closer. Special ed high school. Well, kudos to you. That is a profession I could not manage. I have several teachers in the family, but that is, I don't mind teaching this kind of stuff, but to be in the classroom with high school, middle school, I just don't think I'm cut out for that kind of work. Maybe because I spent so many years working with criminals because I worked for the court system. I just think this border has just a little too much white, so it makes it look more fake to me with more white. So that's the only reason why I'm cutting this one closer, because those of you that have crafted with me before know that fussy cutting is definitely not one of my favorite things. And then since we did it on the jacket, I think I need to maybe do it on the oars. What do you think? Well, I'm sorry it's progressed that much that you're on disability. This might have been more than I should have bit off, but it'll be all right. It'll just be a little slow and painful for you folks to watch. I would have tried to fussy cut them together since they're the same image, but I know I would not have been successful. But I know I wouldn't be happy with that white border on this particular card either. Sorry if you can't see very well what I'm doing, but you know what it looks like to fussy cut, I think. My granddaughter calls it bubble cutting. Yeah, concentrating on your abilities is important. I like that with the border cut off, I think. And I'm going to put a dimensional right here in the middle. Oops. And then I'm going to put some glue. maybe. It's a brand new bottle, but I think I have the tip of it gunked up a little bit. So I'm going to put this here because I want it to be kind of in front of those edges that will kind of conceal a little bit on the bottom here. I think crafting is just good for our brains. My granddaughter's been crafting with me since she was not even 3. I don't know how much younger than that. I have pictures of her when she's like just a few months before she turned 3. So I know she was technically 2, but now she does videos with me once in a while. She's 8 now. And it has helped her, just like the baking. We do baking together. We were working on sourdough bread and sourdough peanut butter cookies yesterday technically. It's helped her with her math skills because she's learning fractions while we're doing this, but she's doing something fun, so it's not like she's learning, you know, how kids are. It works better when it's fun. All right, I'm almost done with this. There. A little more putsy than I intended, but I like it. And then I am going to put just a little bit of glue on the back of the handles. And glue on the bottom of the paddle parts. And we're going to just put that right there. Now I need to do an inside piece, and I think what I'll do is the other piece that was the back of the card, I'm going to trim that down to put on the inside. And we'll layer it just like the front. So what did we do? 4 1/4, did we do 4? Just under 4. 4 7/8. Because I just was winging it. By 5 1/8-ish. And then this piece was just under 3 3/4. I want to make sure there's a crease or there's a score in here, so I want to make sure I'm not doing that one. What did I say, 3 3/4? Yes, 3 3/4. 3 3/4, and I'm going to go just a smidge under that. Now I could use this plank for something too. I'll hang on to that. And then we've got 5. Let's make sure we're bordered up right now. I'm going to take a little bit more off of that. Sometimes the measurements are pre-planned and sometimes they're just random. All right, so let's go ahead and glue this together. Hopefully you will love your paper pumpkins as much as we do. Oh, I have to do my Allie, even though Allie's not here. And we are almost done. And then I will save a couple of more alternatives probably for tomorrow, unless something else really tickles my fancy in the meantime. And it just occurred to me, I have a team meeting tomorrow and I have to do my swaps. There we go, Ellie. All right, now I will probably just go ahead and write in here, because this is light enough to write in, rather than putting another layer of white in there for my message. Oh yeah, I can show you the glue. Stampin' Up! Sells this, but you can find it at other craft stores too. But it's Tombow. It's a multi-purpose liquid glue. So we sell it at Stampin' Up! We just have this size. So it actually has two edges. This has like a broader opening, so you can get more like a stream of glue. I pretty much never use that side. And then this is a little bit more precise. But I just squeeze a little and spread. I use the tip to spread it out. You can see how I've got some of the, I call them glue boogers on here. And you can even use that for a glue dot if you needed to. But I use it to spread it around so that I don't have big globs of glue on my projects. All right, so there's that one. We've got another envelope. And that was fun. An impromptu little alternative there. Super fun. Clean stuff with my chamois. So this is the kit. Our Paper Pumpkin subscription kit. Here is a little bit different version of the first card here. Here is our second card. Now the colors are a little different on here, either based on the photography or that they were doing these samples some time ago. And these are the colors that we now have. And then here is the third card from here. All super fun cards, more masculine than feminine. And then here is one alternative. You are welcome, Nicole. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And that's all I'm going to do for tonight. We've been on here for a couple of hours, so I need to go work on my sourdough bread before I go to bed. And get my swaps going too. I have to figure out what I'm going to do for my swaps for our meeting. It's with my team leader. So my team is kind of off the hook. Suzanne, thank you for wishing everybody a good night. I appreciate everybody popping in and hanging out with me. It's nice to craft with other people, even if I can't hear you. It's fun to watch the comments and carry on these conversations. I'm so glad we can craft together. If anybody's watching from the background, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you give me a thumbs up on the way out, I appreciate that. Always. And until next time, happy crafting.